Lovely light, long shadows, golden as the sun sinks in the west, which is reminding me we begin daylight savings time tomorrow morning at 2 o'clock. And I'm not going to get up at 2:23 to change the clocks ahead. I come up with this really cool thing, man. I figured out, hey, I could change the clocks before I go to bed at night. Yeah? I wonder, I should sell that idea. Copyright it. Patent it. I could make a lot of money. I'll sell it on the internet. I am being driven crazy by my bedside digital clock. I cannot decipher what it's saying, what it's telling me. In the middle of a sluggish, foggish brain in the middle of the night, these numbers don't correlate to anything I understand or that should make sense to me like they do in the daytime. Got a 2 on the far left side for you, that side, and in the middle there's a 3, and the one on the far right for you is 5, for instance. I'm embarrassed to admit that, but it's true. And I see the colon, semicolon, the colon, just after the first number on the left. But that doesn't mean anything to me at that time of foggy brain time. I've been thinking and looking for an analog clock that is illuminated. One that you don't have to reach out and push a button on the back or on top to light it up. That seems to defeat the whole point of waking up in the night and looking over and seeing what time it is. If I have to reach over 5 feet away or 4 feet away, that's not going to work. And I remember the day when they used to make bedside clocks that were lit up all night. Those were real electric clocks. A month or 2 ago, I searched Amazon. Now forget it. And I thought, well, search the web. So I found some clocks at Etsy. If you know about Etsy, it's a site for homemade crafts and goods. Well, there's Etsy. There's a wooden housing, real pecan wood, or they said what kind of wood it was. Well, the damn thing is made in China, shipped over here by the thousands, and somebody is selling them on Etsy like he makes them. Well, nonetheless, that's not a clock I want. You got it. There's a button on top to mute the alarm and or turn on the light. Well, okay, like $31. They're little, with an all-wood frame around it. Do I set it up somehow within reach of the bed so I can just reach over and... Now I'm thinking, why don't I have a couple of LED night lights in the house, which they're too bright, so I've taken blue painter's tape and taped around over the light to dim it down. That has worked. Why can't I fashion a little LED night light, dim it down accordingly, So that light would be on all night, aimed at the face of the clock so I could read it at night. Sort of where I'm aiming. One of the other things I discovered that really annoyed me about Etsy, people are selling, well, let's just continue on, selling vintage electric clocks from the 70s, 80s. And they say, all I've got is one. I noticed 5 people had it in their cart, but nobody had bought it yet. Well, so these guys, these aren't homemade clocks. They're going to flea markets and finding these old clocks. It isn't like they're brand new old clocks. They were in somebody's bedroom for 30 years, and they're likely mostly worn out. They're selling for anywhere from $40 to $130, depending on the vintage. So I don't know what I'm going to do. I need to be able to rectify this, my inability to translate a digital clock. And I told myself weeks ago, just look at the first number on the left. That's all you care about. If it says 4, you can get up. If it says 1, oh my God. Woke up a couple of times recently to see that I was able to figure out, it was telling me it was 11 something. And we need to get this daylight savings time switching twice a year under control. I'm reading more and more the last few days about groups and causes that are pushing for standardized time year-round, so we're not going through this nonsense of 2 times a year changing our clocks back or ahead. And I've told you, I think there's some circadian rhythm, at least in me, that cannot be solved. All of the professionals say, well, you'll adjust to it in 3-4 days a week at the outside. Oh, I'm really curious to see what's going to happen beginning tomorrow morning. Am I going to wake up at 5 now? Good, that's what I want. And then to hell with falling back in November. I'm going to leave my clock on daylight savings time year round. I guess I bitched about this a week or so ago, but I haven't forgot it. Sorry, sweetie, we're not going to Otter Pond. Well, why not? All right. I tricked you, didn't I? She doesn't care where we're going, as long as she's free to run. But I'm curious to see if there's open water down here now. Did you hear that? Trumpeters. Sounds like they're in flight. Well, while I'm waiting for them to fly over, I've been watching a YouTube channel, Robin Wong from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. He's a photographer. He's the guy that got me first introduced and thinking about micro 4/3 format for a camera. Those are the ones that weigh so much less. Learned a lot from him. You may or may not know that Olympus Imaging was bought out by some Japanese company, JIP. I don't know what that stands for. I don't need to know. You don't either. But they've bought Olympus, and there's quite a fear from Olympus users. What does this mean? What does this mean? What are we going out of business? Is our Olympus equipment not going to be supported anymore? No more new camera bodies, no more new lenses, no more anything. Well, the Robin guy was you must have heard that. He was an Olympus visionary, which he's a user in the general public that gets paid by Olympus. I'm not sure how that works out, but he was a visionary, and he used all Olympus products and has been in love with them and has really promoted them. And he lost that position shortly after Olympus sold out. He has been arguing on his YouTube channel why Olympus really needs to stay in business and research and product development. That's an awful sentence, but okay, yeah. And so a lot of his arguments, I hear them, and yeah, he's right. That's good. The camera market has been steeply every year declining to a mere fraction of what it used to be 10 years ago even. Every year is a sharp decline, down. And his argument is cell phones. Everybody has a camera now in their cell phone. Yeah, that's a good argument, because I've always got my camera with me, because I've always got the cell phone with me, usually, unless I leave it in the house connected to the Bluetooth. I'm listening to the radio online now and feeding it through my TV soundbar. Nonetheless, that's what's happening. People don't need a dedicated camera anymore. They have a camera, and a really excellent camera, in their pocket. My iPhone 6 was just, well, I think I mentioned to you, I had it for a year. I knew that it did video and stills, but I had no idea what good quality the video is out of it until a year ago. Well, anyway, I don't remember when, but I began to use it. Oh man. And it's stabilized. So you're walking along, it's not jittery. Well, this camera also is stabilized. So I've really benefited from that. The point I'm coming to here is, as you know, I've been researching what camera do I want to get into to replace the big old heavy outdated technology Canon 5D Mark II. 10 years ago, that was ancient technology. And I didn't realize how the technology over 10 years had really grown. But I'm beginning to wonder, first of all, if companies like Olympus and Panasonic, those are the two main makers of micro four thirds sensors, are even going to be around. If their business is falling off so precipitously because people don't need to buy dedicated cameras, and that's unless they're a real photographer. Well, what is a real photographer anymore either? So I'm beginning to wonder if I need to not get a new camera setup for in the range of $1,600-$1,800. Maybe I could just replace my iPhone with a newer one, but Jesus God, I can't. I don't know how people can afford $1,200 to $1,400 for the latest iPhone. Oh my God. And they'd look at me and say, I don't know how you can afford to buy an $1,800 dedicated camera. Are you a fool? Well, this has sort of opened a whole new direction of thinking. Oh. What got me going on this was I use TrackPhone for my service. I think it's the best thing ever. I don't do a lot with it on the internet. I do most of it over Wi-Fi. If I do, I rarely access my data from the cell tower. In fact, I've got that turned off. I have different needs and uses than the general public, I guess. But TrackPhone sells phones. I went in there this morning and looked at them, and they've got, well, they still have 2 reconditioned iPhone 6s. 6S is available. It's the one I bought 2 years ago now. I would never own anything but an iPhone. Oh my gosh, the synchronicity to it between my Mac. But they had an iPhone SE. And I was reminded, I looked at that a few months ago. It's a stripped down, newer generation iPhone. And at that time it was $400. Now TrackPhone has it for $239, and it's new. But the camera on it isn't really much improved over what I've got now. The benefit that I would get from that is that it's got a much newer generation processor. So that's been one of my concerns with the phone I've got. I've updated it routinely with the new operating system. I'm at 13 now, but I think that's the last time I'm going to be able to update to the latest operating system. Well, then what? I don't like the idea of going antiquated with any device. I did that with my previous Mac. All right, I haven't seen Suki for a while. I said I was going to quit doing this, didn't I? Months ago. The wolf was going to eat her? Well, that's her own problem.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit the like button. See you next time.